Hello, and welcome to the Thrive Mindset Podcast. I am so glad you are here with me. My name is Carrie Dahle, and I am your host. I am an entrepreneur, author, podcaster, manifester, and motivator. And I am on a mission to empower you to create the life of your dreams. If you are looking to up-level your life, relationships, finances, productivity, and success, you have come to the right place. I will share with you tools, resources, strategies, my failures, and my successes that have all helped me achieve the life of my dreams. It is my goal with this podcast to help you see your potential and empower you to create the life of your dreams. So let's get to it. Well, welcome back to the Thrive Mindset Podcast. I'm Carrie Dahle, your host, and today I have Sharon Joseph with me. Sharon has professionally coached people in their personal growth for close to 20 years. She's a channeler, a healer, a best-selling author, a medium, and an animal communicator. And she is the mirror for others to explore and embrace who they are, supporting them as they step into the fullness of their being. Welcome, Sharon.
Thank you. It's so nice to be here.
Well, it's great to have you. I believe that we connect through stories, and that's how people relate to us. And I would love to hear how this world opened up to you.
Well, I came in pretty open. I remember I got a lot of information. The way I get my information is just a knowing, right?
Okay.
So I used to know things as a kid that I had no way of, I didn't experience them yet, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I would just speak whatever I got. I didn't process where it's coming from or how would I know that. It never occurred to me
Mm-hmm.
until later when my dad passed away when I was 21. And so I started looking into, I figured I was very much into science always. And I thought, okay, we know that energy is not destroyed. It only changes form. So I started reading all these books, and I had a few things happen where um, the bell to our house, the ringing bell was broken, and
Mm-hmm.
after my dad passed, it kept ringing, and would someone else go to ring it, it wouldn't work.
Huh.
Yeah, and I was getting information directly from him, and all these little things, like I had a dog that for like a week after my dad passed, he just refused to go anywhere. He sat with his nose at this corner of a room,
Hmm.
and he was very sad, obviously, and he just refused to go anywhere. And I read in one of the books at the time that some animals feel how the soul collects itself in a corner of a house, and then
Hmm.
they do that. So that was my intro kind of to understanding that. And what happened was I went when I was going to this bookstore. I lived in Canada at the time, and I went to this metaphysical bookstore, and the guy there said to me, listen, after I told him what I'm looking for and why, he said, listen, I have this lady downstairs in the basement in Canada, their basements, that channels, and maybe you can ask her questions about your dad departing and all that. I'm like, sign me up. Yeah, why not? So when I went downstairs and listened to her, um, it was very interesting because he put her under this young man, um, got her into a trance, and then she was this little lady, very soft spoken, but when she started channeling, this manly voice came through, and she spoke in very old English,
Huh.
like really different. And the being said that I'm going to be doing exactly what she's doing, and that was my introduction to my future. And so I thought, okay, I didn't make much of it. I just thought it's possible. And so that was the beginning. And then I was very left brained. So I was a chief financial officer for a public company, and I was very much
Wow.
into science. Yes. And but helping people with the information that I got to guide them how to proceed with different things in their lives, and especially health stuff. For some reason, I got a lot of that information. So slowly, while I was in the industry of the left brain people, I slowly felt that I'm missing something, that it's not really me completely. So I started taking this channeling class, and I already started channeling, knowing that I'm channeling, but I felt like if I want to do this professionally, I need to really take a class and do it the right way. So, and I met this other channel before the class. I met this other channel that helped me kind of clear my vessel because of all the traumas, with my dad passing away and everything. I I needed to be a very clean vessel so that the information that comes through is not, kind of dirtied by my experiences. So yeah,
Do you think that's why you were, I don't, for lack of better words, tuning in to more of the health issues because of what the experience you had with your dad? Is that what, do you think that's a connection at
um,
the beginning, at least?
it could be, but I'll say two things that are confusing. One is time is not linear, really; it's circular.
Mhm.
So maybe I did know ahead of time,
Mhm.
but I did help people with their health issues from the time I was little. Because
Okay.
yeah, so I'm not really sure.
Yeah, no, it's just I
Yeah,
thought it was an interesting connection there that that's
it is.
where you would
Yeah,
go to that, especially where you were such in the business world. I mean, that's two totally different mindsets.
absolutely. And I always resisted going into the health part of it.
Mhm.
And I'm still a little resistant. I'm not as much anymore at all because I know that I do make an impact, and I love to help people. And I do remember very young when I said to myself that I'm here to be in service. That was very clear to me. So, so I do it, but I'm still not thrilled about it on some level.
It chose you, apparently.
Yeah. Yeah.
So speaking of your dad and that story, I read the chapter that you wrote for Mindset Mastery.
Mhm.
Good mindset equals good life. And I loved it. I loved the whole idea of letting go of control for your ultimate freedom.
Yeah.
Is there
Thank you.
anything about that you would like to share? Any words of wisdom? Anything?
Yeah. I would say that that was a theme for me for my whole life. So each one of us has kind of a sentence that usually my guides can tell that will lead them through life, that it's this really ingrained pattern that they have that they they wish to overcome. But even though I've been working on this letting go of what's uncontrollable, it's part of who I am. And I'll give you an example what I'm talking about, so people will understand what I mean. So when I work on people, uh, I have detached compassion, which is very wrong, right? But that's part of me trying to control the uncontrollable,
Mhm.
So I, as much as my guides told me that from the get-go, you need to let go of this attachment, right? You need to be, and I know in my mind and in my whole being that each person has their own journey and everything is perfect the way it unfolds, we all know that.
Mhm.
But it's not something that I'm uh, conscious of, that I just kind of get, I want so much to help people that I do it, that it happens that way.
Yeah. That makes sense. I can't imagine that's you're tapping into things that you can feel and hear and sense that they aren't aware of. And I can't imagine being able to be not attached. I mean, that's hard.
Right. It is, but it's the right thing to
Yeah,
be. Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, so I do feel though that a lot of us people have, well, some of us like to control because they had no control over their lives growing up. A lot of my clients have that. Where either the mom was detached or the dad wasn't around, and the kid had to bring themselves up, or take care of their siblings. There's so many scenarios, but 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 we know that ultimately we don't really have any control, and the sooner we understand that, the sooner we have more control really over our lives,
Yeah.
right? Because we can only control how we react to things. That's the only thing that we can control.
Hmm.
So it is a mindset to understand that I cannot blame anybody. I take responsibility for what is happening and how I react. That is the only thing I could change.
Yeah. Your energy. That is what you can control and what you
Yeah,
attract and what you don't attract. Yeah. I
right.
I love that. Because
Yeah,
I believe everyone has the ability to manifest, right? Or we all manifest all the time. We just
right,
don't necessarily do it intentionally. But I believe that once you learn how to do that, then you can draw what you're wanting to your life by the energy you put out. So
right.
this is very much in line with what you're saying though, because you can't, in that same sense, you can't, like I can say I'm manifesting, I don't know, whatever it is, but I
Yeah,
can't control how it's going to come. I can believe it's going to come and I can know it's going to come, but I can't control how it's going to come.
right. And there's something I need to say about that just for the audience is,
Yeah.
one thing is that the universe always delivers more,
Hmm.
so and another thing that I would say is that if we have our channel at, I don't know, 720 FM, for example, right?
Hmm.
We cannot perceive all the other channels, right?
Correct.
But if we can maybe go a step up and just be open, then we could get more information and more, we draw more to us,
Hmm.
right? Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely.
And the other thing that I was going to say is that um, when we when we want something, or not even when we want something, talking about manifesting, we need to understand what's in our subconscious, because if it's subconscious, and we act 95% of the time from our subconscious,
Yeah.
so there are many patterns we're not aware of, right?
Hmm.
So how do you become aware of these? I mean, some people call it shadows, some people call it, patterns that we're not aware of, whatever, is just by being aware of the conversation in our minds, right?
Yes.
And then, yeah, and that way we can change it. So if we have any kind of derogatory remarks to ourselves, which we all do at some point, we kind of need to cancel it and say something good.
Hmm.
Or if we, some of us have like on one hand, we believe we're very wealthy, but on the other hand, we believe that it's hard to get money, for example, right?
Yes.
But these are all things that we need to bring into awareness so we could change that in order to manifest
For sure.
easier.
For
Yeah,
sure. Because if you have those things holding on to you, they're holding you back because you still believe them. Like you still, as much as you say every day, I'm abundant or whatever it is that you say, if you have this mind of scarcity, it's going to keep crawling back in and it's going to keep bringing scarcity to you.
yeah, true. But I do believe in affirmations,
I do too, for
right?
sure.
Yeah,
Mhm.
because if we keep saying it enough times and enough times during the day and for a longer period, then we create this new neuron pathway that
Yeah.
hopefully our subconscious will go there instead of going to the old belief
Yes.
system, right?
Yeah, but that's
Yeah.
also, like you said, that's retraining yourself and reteaching yourself something, and you're at least aware of it, because if you wouldn't be saying
Mhm.
that affirmation if you weren't aware.
Exactly.
So,
Exactly.
yeah, I love, oh my gosh, what a great thing. So, do you spend more time now channeling for people, or more work with animals, or what do you
I
focus more on?
yeah, I do right now. I do more people. Actually, for a long time I've been doing more people. I think when I was younger it was more animals, and I do still do animals, but that the attached compassion,
Mm-hmm.
very hard for me with animals.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
I'm still working on that. So it's easier for me. It's also, I communicate with animals, so it's not as hard as it used to be
Mm-hmm.
energetic wise. But I do feel like I can make a better impact with
Mm-hmm.
people that own animals too. It's
Yep.
not only, yeah, it's not, yeah. So yeah, I do that, and I'm kind of branching out more to more retreats now.
Okay. Do you have
Yeah.
anything coming up, or?
I have, let me see. I have one coming up in Costa Rica. I think April is full, so well, it's not like I don't have a date, but
Mhm.
Costa Rica is coming up. I'm going to Egypt on Friday, so
Oh,
I'm
wow.
excited about that. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, just I'm gonna, if someone wants to follow what my social media or something, I'll post more, but I'm planning
Perfect.
to have more retreats. Yeah.
Perfect. I'll share that for sure.
Thank you.
Are you only channeling when somebody comes to you, or does it just happen? I mean, like when you're out and about. And
Good
when
question.
and if it does, do you ignore it, or do you share it?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So, I made an agreement with my guides and my higher self to not to show me things unless someone asks me to look, you know?
Hmm.
But sometimes, not often, but sometimes when I go somewhere, first of all, I'm very empathic, so I feel everybody. So
Mm.
if someone needs healing, my hands get very like energy. I feel the
Mhm.
energy in my hands. But if someone needs some reassurance, or maybe a loved one has just passed and they're torn, then sometimes my guides would ask me, please go to her or to him and say this.
Okay.
So then I do. I give them the message, because if I don't, they just keep poking at me and I can't do anything else.
Yeah.
So, and I do want to make people, give them some comfort.
Of course, but I would think if it was all the time, and if you hadn't set somewhat of a boundary for yourself,
Yeah.
that would just become noise. I mean, I would imagine.
Yeah.
It kind of
That'll
makes me
be
think
hard.
of, I know this is a silly comparison and maybe you've never seen this, but it makes me think of that movie, like I think it was early 90s. It was Ghost with Demi Moore and Patrick Swayze,
Yeah.
where Whoopi Goldberg is like, leave me alone,
I know. I love that movie. Yeah.
But
um,
that's, I mean, but in her case, I mean, obviously it's a fictional character, but that's what I'm saying. It was like, just, I need a boundary. Like,
right. And I feel like a lot of my clients are healers, and
mhm,
they get messages, etc. So I tell them from the start, you're the one that drives the car. You need to say what you need and what you don't need and how you want it.
mhm.
So I'm saying that to your audience as well, because I'm sure there are many
Yeah,
healers, and
for
yeah,
sure. For sure.
yeah.
What would you say is like one of the most important things that you think people need to know
In general, or
about what you do, or just,
oh,
yeah, or yeah, about what you do?
okay. So about what I do is I just what they need to know is that I connect to their guidance, their higher self.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would never say something they're not ready for. And also what I want to say is that sometimes their guides or my guides would say something like would tell them a story that will make them feel and understand what they need to, even if it was not their exact story, but it's very similar so they could get that feeling and understanding. But I will answer that question in general for people.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I would focus on, like my guide said, about 7 things is eating healthy and clean. I think that's the most important, and it's getting harder, with
For sure.
all
For sure.
the spraying and stuff, the toxicity. And so I would recommend to do a cleanse every season,
Mm-hmm.
but if not, then do it twice a year or once a year, but just do some cleansing. And the second thing would be to do some movement or exercise or something to keep the body, the
Mm-hmm.
energy. The main thing is for the energy to move. So whatever makes you move.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then there is meditation is important.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't, some people can't meditate or their monkey mind is too busy. So just take some deep breaths.
Mm-hmm.
And when you breathe and you focus on maybe like a box breathing, like you take 4 in, you hold for 4, you release for 4. And at the bottom of the breath, no breath, you hold for 4. And if they do that a few times, then it relaxes the nervous system. Sex is important because it gets, again, the energy, it gets it moving. We're all energy, right?
Yes.
So the the thing is not to get the energy stuck, because our emotions lead to our hormones getting us to do, maybe have extra cortisol or something that gives us kind of blocks in our energy system. So the whole thing about keeping healthy and what's important is to move the energy. I would say that that's like the most important thing. Just have your mind about moving the energy and pay attention to yourself. This, a lot of people, most people, me included, would put everybody else ahead.
Mm-hmm.
And I know for women, we have this ingrained thing that we need to take care of the whole world before we take care of ourselves.
Yep.
Right?
Yes.
So, some of my clients are like, well, you tell me to do this, but I have to take care of my parents and I have to take care of my kids and I have to take care of my husband. So when I don't have time for myself, well, that's really wrong, because when we give from an empty cup, there's not much there, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I feel that it's really important to, first of all, for everybody, male and female, to really love and appreciate yourself. We're part of God, Goddess, all that is. We're a spark of the divine. We're perfect the way we are. We come in with everything we need. Who we are is serving us in what we lined up to understand in this life, or to get over, to release, to learn.
Mm-hmm.
So put yourself first, love yourself unconditionally, because if you cannot love yourself unconditionally, nobody else can, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And whatever it is that is like a general kind of mind uh, food is if you see something in someone that you don't like, look inside and see what is it in me that that pushes a button. What do I want to learn, get over, create, renew? I think that's what my guides gave me for a long time. I needed to, you know how we all come with kind of judgment. We're all judgy in some way. And so every time I judged someone or something, then my guides would say, okay, what is it in them that you don't like? And so look inside and see what is it in you that triggers you about that, you know? And of course, everybody's a mirror. The outside is a mirror for our inside. So whatever it is that we don't like outside, we need to learn inside to change inside. Just like, you know how when you look at, I'm sure people heard this before, but it's such a good example. When you look at the mirror and you want to change something, you cannot change it. You cannot change the mirror. You cannot erase the mirror, right? You need to go in there. So it's the same thing because the world is our mirror. It's our world. Each one of us has our own individual world that we came here to work with or to enjoy, hopefully, some of it.
Yeah.
So
No,
yeah.
that's such great advice, all of that. I mean,
Thank you.
there's so many words of wisdom there for people to listen to. In fact, I think you should hit pause and rewind and go back again and listen to that a few times because there was a lot in there. The
There
mirror,
is.
though, I will say that I love that you said that. I don't think anyone has said that on this podcast. And it's something I know and we hear, many times, but it's also something really hard for people to deal with, right? Because it's hard to say that that person is irritating because of something inside of me, right?
That's true.
But it's
Yes.
so true. And if you're honest with yourself, you can often see what that is and possibly and change it and fix it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I get that it's sometimes hard to look at ourselves and see things that we might not like. But the thing is, as you said, we could change that.
Mm-hmm.
And just remember that this is one thing that I'm kind of playing with myself always. I always go kind of like macro and think to myself, go backwards and say, okay, I came here. I'm this huge energy that got into this. Some of me, a very small part of me, is in this body. And this represents what I wanted to be part of this collective. I wanted to play the game of being human. And so I needed to agree with all the rules of the game, right? So I always remind myself, this is kind of like a game that I'm playing. So the character that I like or don't like is just part of this costume. Okay, it's not who I really am, because who I really am is an all loving, accepting being. I'm not a judgy, not me, but my higher self, my soul. All of us have a soul that is, again, it's part of God Goddess. How can that be judgy or, or not loving? Cannot. Doesn't go together for me. So just go back, just look from a bigger picture so you don't criticize that part of you in this body. This is temporary. It's not really who you are.
That's just beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you.
For sharing today. Is there any parting remarks? Anything else that you'd love to share that we haven't talked about today?
Well, I think I gave a lot, but I would just say I like to say this to my clients, put on these pink glasses. And the pink glasses for me represent joy. So in everything that you do or everything that you look at, look for the joy, because that will bring our frequency higher and it will make our reality better in everything, manifesting, attracting, And also know that all is possible. All is possible. I do believe that. And I believe in miracles, so-called miracles.
Mhm.
And I also believe that because I do medical intuition, I know that we can heal anything. We could heal everything in our body. Our body just comes here to flag us about something in our life. Each part of us represents, like, say, the kidneys. They are like the judges of our life experience, because the kidneys, they decide if we want to eliminate the water or we need to bring something back into the body. So that represents in your life, what is it that you're being asked to decide, and which direction do you want to go? And so just know that everything is possible, everything is healable. I think that's
Beautiful.
enough.
Beautiful. Well,
Mhm.
Sharon, thank you so much for being here today. I really appreciate you and your time and your stories and all of your words of wisdom. And I'm sure that this community will too.
Thank you, Carrie. It's been such a pleasure, and I'm looking forward to having you on my show too.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
She has got a million great pearls of wisdom to share with us, and I hope that you all got something out of it today. And if you'd like more, check out her links below and connect with Sharon. I'm sure that she would love to chat with you. And above all else, remember that I believe in you, and you can manifest the life you